Okay, so I'm going to be heading back to the root shelter that you saw me make a while back. And right now, I'm facing 30-degree temperatures. It's only going to get colder as night comes. And what I want to show you is how a shelter can really improve that type of situation when it's this cold out. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hike our way back there. I'm going to be staying there by myself tonight, and I need to make sure that I can get it warm enough so I don't go hypothermic. We're going to talk about a lot of that stuff when I'm back there. So when I get back there, I'm sure it's going to need to be improved a lot because it's just been sitting there as long as it's still there. I'm sure enough of it is where I can build it up quick. But the trick is I only have about an hour until nightfall. And I kind of wanted to do that on purpose because in a real situation, usually you don't realize you need shelter until the very last minute. So I kind of planned it that way. I'm not going to give myself very much time because I'm going to need to get fire and I'm going to need to get this shelter to where I can hopefully sleep at a reasonable temperature tonight. Okay, I know I'm close because I just crossed the water. Now remember, it was by this creek. So when we get up there, we'll take a look at it and see what kind of work we got to do to it. Okay, I made it back here, and you can see that this thing actually held up quite well over all that time. Okay, got a definite some holes in the back I got to patch up, and on the side. The good thing is now there's a lot more leaves on the ground, and you can see this is quite dry in here, so I'm pretty happy about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix this up and get me a fire going. What I'm going to do is bring you with me the whole night, and I have an infrared camera that is going to record everything. I have a thermometer for outside, and I'm going to be using my watch for the inside temperature. And I'm going to go through everything with you for why you need this shelter and what it's going to do for you. So I got to get to work. Okay, I just spent a good 20 minutes just piling as many leaves as I can. You can see there ain't much light showing now. Okay, but that's going to have to do. As you can tell, it's getting late. I only got probably another 35-45 minutes until it's nightfall. So I need to get me a fire going. I need to collect as much firewood as I possibly can. Okay, so I got just a small amount of daylight left. I'm sitting alright right now. I got this fairly nice sized pile of firewood, and I'm going to utilize the rest of this daylight to stack that. You know, the rule of thumb generally is 5 times more than what you think is enough. And I know this isn't enough because I'm from Michigan and we burn firewood all winter long. And you'd be surprised how much we actually use. But I want to show you what I did here. I got you the time lapse of showing you just what I did. Shelter's good and improved. Yeah, I know you can't see, I'll get the infrared out in a little bit, but I added some leaves in there for extra insulation. And what I did is I put this post, this post, this post, and this post in, and layered wood on there to increase my root backstop. Now I have a nice angled backstop, which is going to take all that heat and put it right in my shelter for me. That closes this up real nice, and if you can see that, my smoke's running right out the roof there. And that is perfect. It's just perfect right now. Okay, and if you noticed in that time lapse, I started taking some layers off. I took a jacket off. All I have is that small spring type jacket that I wear in the woods all the time, and a fleece on, and then some pants. And I got wool socks and boots on. And that's about all I got right now. So I don't really have that much clothing. It is cold. I'm going to show you in a while here once I get the thermometers out and stuff. We'll get more depth of what's going on. It's cold. It was 30 degrees when I got here, so I'm sure it's going to dip down even more. Right now I'm sweating because I've been working so fast and hard to get this done. Okay, so I wanted to point that out, that I'm shedding layers. I made this extra backstop. It's real simple. You don't have to get fancy with these things. A lot of people, you know, they want everything to look so perfect, but I don't. I'm going to get it done so I can sleep enjoyably tonight. Or it's going to be a long night, and I don't want to have to work in the dark, which already you can see it's getting kind of dark. So I'm going to go ahead and get some more firewood, and I'll be back with you in just a minute. I'm just going to give you a quick look here. Okay, you see how I built that backstop there, added on with the root shelter's backstop, which is just that root. I dug it in. Okay, that's all dug in right there, and the fire's here. And this backstop, and then my doorway's here. So what's happening is all this heat is now literally being thrown right back in here. Okay, and I'm nice and warm right now. Okay, it's cold outside. It's really cold. Let me show you another thing real quick. See this log I'm moving right here? Okay, if we follow that down, that goes way out in my shelter, and it's a nice big thick log. I like to put them on my fires at night because piece just broke off. You know, you can see that's burnt right there, broke off, fell in the fire, and now I can just take that thing, slide her on in. Simple. Okay, that way you know you've got a nice big log you're gonna have on there all night. You don't have to go fumbling around getting firewood. It's just a nice little asset to do. Now before I go to bed, obviously I'm going to put a good load of my smaller logs, which are all out here, just within hand's reach. Okay, I don't have to go crawling outside to go get it. And I want to show you also, I have these stacked vertically, okay, leaning on this root shelter, because then they're not sitting on the ground soaking up all the moisture, because it is wet. Okay, it is wet out here right now. A lot of this stuff was really wet. So that's just a couple more tips I can show you. If you have a nice log like this, it's something that'll burn for you all night. You know, if it starts to die down, just slide that sucker up on the fire, grab a couple more small ones and throw them on there, and you got a nice log that's going to last you. So you're not sleeping for 15 minutes and waking up, stoking the fire. Sleep for another 15 minutes, wake up, stoke the fire. If you got something like this, you'll sleep a little longer. It'll stay warmer a lot longer. Okay? I'll give you a good look at the shelter at night. I have my one tripod sitting on it right now, but you can see I piled a lot of leaves on top of them shingle barks, that bark shingle, whatever you want to call it, that I had sitting there. I want to show you the temperature. Okay, I have a thermometer out here. I can't touch it because it'll literally raise the temperature that quick. Right now we're looking at 30 degrees. Okay, you see that middle needle there? Just a hair above 30. Okay, so it's not warm by any means. I've had that sitting out here for a while now, and it's a hair sensitive thermometer. If you touch it, it'll actually increase really quickly. So I put my watch inside the shelter, Okay, see it sitting there? I got that sitting, that's literally like the center of my shelter right there. Okay, you can see my camera bag right there. That's where I keep my cameras in. That's sitting in the back right now. So what I'm going to do is use this to keep the temperature on the inside. Alright. Alright guys, I'm just kind of hanging out in here right now and getting ready to cook up me some tea and some beans that I brought along. And that's important because it's going to actually keep me warm. The beans is going to give me some energy for my body. You know, when you're digesting food, you're creating heat. And food is going to be warm because I have a fire. So if you have food, good thing. If you have tea, great. Make some warm, even if it's just water. Boil that water and drink it hot. That's going to warm up your body and everything. And I just wanted to do a quick shot here on my temperature. Okay, this thing's just been sitting in here like this. What I do is just hit this button and we're looking at 50 degrees. Okay, I showed you the temperature out there. Right here's the temperature, by the way, very bottom. So we're looking at 50 on the dot degrees Fahrenheit. So that's really not that bad considering that it's 30 outside. So we're looking at 20 degrees difference just by building the shelter, having this fire reflecting that heat at me. Okay, that's huge. So you want to make sure when you're building these shelters, get it as close as you can, but maximize its efficiency. Constantly keep yourself busy. That's the one thing I've learned staying by myself is stay busy. And when I stayed in Florida by myself, if I caught myself just sitting there thinking, it's game over. You know, your mind will play tricks on you. You get lonely. You want to be back in civilization. But when you're out here like this, you need to actually just keep yourself occupied. Okay? What can I do to make my shelter better? Is there something I can make some cordage out of to improve my situation? So I've been sitting here. I found a tree right next to me that makes pretty good cordage. So I've been weaving myself some cordage, and I've been improving this shelter. You know, packing that mud around that backstop for me has helped a lot. It's actually helped reflect a lot more heat in here too. And I put some more leaves that were just sitting around my camp right here, right outside the door, on top of my shelter just to close it in even more. I felt for any wind drafts that were in here and just simply put some leaves up in them. That simple fix like that, that's going to make your situation that much better. So just remember, stay busy, don't think about things, focus on the situation, and you're going to be alright. And what I'm going to do is keep shooting shelter videos like this, where I stay in them at night, and I'll use the 2 thermometers like that, and put one inside the shelter, one outside. And what that's going to do is just show you the difference in each shelter. This one might not be as warm as the next one, you know, and there's definitely shelters that are warmer than this one for sure. So I will keep doing those as we go, and I'll keep you posted the rest of the night tonight as we keep going. Now, I want to show you what I did here. I made a backstop here. Okay, now I showed you where I made that one here in the root shelter video, but what I did is actually made it even better and made a kind of like a concave type deal where I built it out even further. You know, put 4 structures in here like that and stacked wood in between it, you know, like this, making another backstop. But the problem I was having here is this was kind of catching fire on me because I have this backstop so close to the fire. So I took some mud and just packed some mud. You know, this whole tree trunk here is all mud, clay pretty much, and I just packed that in there like so, and that way it ensures me that my shelter isn't going to burn down. So I did that. I packed some up underneath here, keep them flames. If they keep licking this wood will dry out and it could catch fire, and I want to be able to keep my fire as big as I can to keep me warm. So that's one thing that I did. Constantly be improving your shelter throughout the day, okay? If you're up, keep busy. You need to stay busy. And make that busyness be towards making your night even better. Right there is what you share your shelters with. Okay, you may have heard of the 4 W's, but I'm here to share with you the 5 W's. Okay, there's, when you're building a shelter, you're to look for. Usually people talk about the 4 W's, but I'm going to tell you the 5. Okay, usually you look for wood, water, wind, and widowmakers. Okay, can't see what I'm doing here. And those are the 4 that you usually look for, but a lot of people seem to miss the 5th one, wigglies. Some places wigglies can kill you. Florida, that's one of them. Tennessee, definitely another one. A lot of people think Tennessee is like Michigan and northern woodlands like that, but it's not. There is more black widow and brown recluse here than I've ever seen anywhere else in my life. So you need to be aware of what you're sleeping with. So remember the 5 W's. Water, wood, widowmakers, wind, meaning the direction of the wind, and wigglies. Wigglies meaning scorpions, snakes, spiders, anything that can bite and put hurt on you. And I've seen a couple of them in here already. Okay? So remember that. Okay. When you're out here like this, and sometimes you may not have a shelter to keep you warm, because I haven't had the chills at all. I haven't shivered or anything. But if you do, the first thing that's going to happen is your fingers and your toes are going to be cut off from your circulation. That's your body's natural reaction. It says, okay, well, they don't need blood flow. I'm going to keep the organs warm, which are more important to keep you alive. So your fingers, you'll notice, if it's hard for you to do this, then you know that it's the beginning stages of your body saying, hey, I'm getting cold. Okay, hypothermia, there's signs that tell you it's coming. Okay, so one thing that you can do to get your fingers back to feeling is take your arms, swing them like this. Okay, I can't really see anything so I'm running into stuff. But you take your arms, you swing them as hard as you can like that, and you need to do squats. Okay, you just do simple squats. Okay, you're going to do squats, and you're going to do jumping jacks, and you're going to do pull-ups. Alright, so if you get cold, even in a shelter in the middle of the night, I mean, you can see, that's my breath. If you get cold at all, and you feel like, okay, this fire, this shelter's not doing it, then you simply need to come outside, do some squats, do some jumping jacks, and get yourself back warm, okay? It's important that you do that. There's no reason for you to die anywhere in any situation if it's cold. You need to just focus on the situation and simply say, okay, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to get my body warm really quick, and I'm going to go back in there and sleep for another 15 minutes. I'm going to come back out and I'm going to do it again. You have to do that, okay? That's just part of it. So remember that. Squats, metabolic heat. Anything that generates metabolic heat, pull-ups, sit-ups, jumping jacks, squats. Move your arms like I showed you to get blood back into your fingers, because that's what's happening. It's cutting off the blood flow to your fingers, and you'll get dexterity back in your fingers. So remember those tips when you are in a situation like this and it's cold. Okay, it's time to go to bed here, and you can see that's still right at 30 degrees, so looks like that's the temperature I'm going to be dealing with tonight. So 30 degrees in here versus 50. I had 53 a minute ago. I'll check it again here in a minute for you, because I have improved this. Like I said, keep improving your shelter as you go. And I'm going to go ahead and jump in here and show you everything that I've done. Okay, so I'm back in the shelter here, and I just want to show you what I did. I utilized the mud, clay, like I said, it's pretty much clay, in this corner here, and I simply stacked it here because this started to fill up with ashes, and I don't want to set my shelter on fire. So I put this little boundary up here and a little one right here to keep anything from rolling out there. So now my fire is contained. I packed a whole bunch. You can see where I packed that mud right there. That's perfect for this because I don't want any flame licking that. I'm guessing this is an old pine log because there was sap starting to drip out of it. Sap's highly flammable. So I packed some mud up in there, and I packed more. Like I added this here, this section here, out here, to even keep more of that heat. Now my door's this big versus how big it was before. So now all this heat here is coming right back in this shelter. And let's go to our temperature here. We're at 51 now. Like I said a minute ago, it was at 53 when I had that fire cranking. My fire's kind of low right now, but that's plenty warm to keep me alive throughout the night. And doing this simple stuff to my shelter, just right here, all I had to do was just grab some mud and slap it around and improve it a little bit, make it more safe so nothing can burn. And now I have a shelter that isn't going to burn, and it's keeping me a couple more degrees warm. So that's a win for me, and I'll take it. So I'm going to go ahead and sit back and hit the snooze button. I'm going to do a little bit more weaving here. Those palm fronds you saw in the video in the beginning were for me to make a basket. I'm just kind of utilizing my time here, and I will get back with you in the middle of the night as things progress. So far I'm still pretty warm. I just checked the temp, it's still at 50 degrees. So I'll try to keep it that throughout the night, but you never know. Fire may go out and I may sleep through it a little ways and end up freezing when I wake up. But the key is just keep that fire going throughout the night. That's what matters. You know, if I get a little chilly, I'll get out, do some squats and some jumping jacks and such. But you know, sleep is really important. A lot of people underestimate that and don't really stress on it enough. But without sleep, you're going to lose your mind, and you're not going to be able to focus, and you're not going to have any energy to do anything. So it's key to make a shelter that's comfortable and make a fire so you're comfortable, so you're not freezing all night, so you can actually get some sleep. Your body needs rest. Alright, it's about 2 in the morning right now, and it's pretty much been sleep for half an hour, wake up and build the fire up a little bit, sleep for a half hour. The longest I slept was for about 45 minutes, but you know, the ground and everything is uncomfortable and cold, and I think it's getting colder out. It feels like it, at least, but that's pretty much how it's been. So not going to be too much sleep, but at least I'm warmer in here than what I would be out there, and that's the key. Probably going to be tired tomorrow, but I know at least I'll get some rest for tonight. And we'll go ahead and check this again. Alright, now we're at 43.8 degrees. So you can see it cooled down in here a little bit, and that's from the fire going out and stuff. When that fire goes out, you know, you immediately wake up and know it. There was one time where I had to go outside and do a couple squats and some jumping jacks and stuff just to warm up. So I'm just kind of filling you in on how it works in a cold situation, a shelter like this. Now, a more ideal shelter, I feel, would be something smaller, something with less space to fill up heat-wise. So keep that in mind if you ever do get in a situation where it's cold like this. That'll definitely help. So I'm gonna try to get warmed up here and go back to sleep, and I'll be back with you guys in the morning. Well, good morning. It's a long night. It's about the best you can say when it comes to anything involving survival. You know, survival isn't something that's enjoyable, and sleeping in a shelter like this, no matter what you do, it's not going to be comfortable. Like, my back hurts a little bit from sleeping on the ground, and I kept it for the most part at 50 degrees throughout the night, but a couple times I'd sleep, like the most I slept was for like an hour, and then I woke up to 40 degrees in my shelter because it started to, the ground started to freeze over in the middle of the night. But I kept my fire going all night, which was key. These big logs like this, I had a couple of them laying here that I was just going to pull on the fire like I showed you, and that kept it going pretty good. It was cold, a couple times where I got chills. I had to do those exercises I showed you just to warm myself up, and that's just part of it. And now I'm waking up to sunshine, which is excellent. So I wanted to talk real quick, about survival. Survival isn't something that is a recreation or something that's supposed to be fun, and it never will be. It's work. It sucks is the best way to put it. Survival is what it says, survival. It's not living. It's not bushcraft. And I will do a video on bushcraft versus survival. I've wrote a blog on it already, but I will be doing a video on it because there's a difference, and a lot of people are portraying this to be something that's fun. Well, it's not. It's a great skill set to learn, and it's good to know survival skills, but it is not fun. Okay, and anyone who goes out here and stays in shelters like this and actually does, practices what they preach, will know that this is not something enjoyable. And I'm here to tell you the hardest place to survive, because I have been in 3 different types of climates. Okay, I've been in Michigan where the winters are harsh. I've been in Florida where the summers and the winters are quite warm, and there's an abundance of food, an abundance of plant life, an abundance of things to make shelter with. And I've been here in Tennessee in the mountains, okay, which is in between. Pretty cold winters, not as much snow as Michigan, not as cold as Michigan, but it's right there. And I'm here to tell you that the hardest situation to survive in is when it's cold, okay? Because like last night, I had to keep this shelter warm. And that's another thing I want to point out, is a smaller shelter is better for a cold situation. I had a feeling that was going to be like this because there's quite a bit of room in here, but I was protected from the rain or snow, and it did flurry a little bit last night. Just snow, it wasn't rain, and it wasn't that bad. But it's good for that, but it's not good for heating because it's so big. It's bigger. I could fit 2 people in here, and that becomes a problem because now I have to generate enough heat to get this thing warmed up. Okay, and that meant a lot of work on the fire, keeping the fire bigger instead of smaller, more firewood, and that's the tough part of it. So winter survival in cold temperatures is the most difficult to survive in, mentally and physically. Because mentally, it's going to wear you out. You're not going to sleep, okay? It's not going to be like you're going to be just passed out in a nice warm place in your shorts and pajamas. In Florida, I've slept out there in just my hammock before by myself and slept just fine. Slept like a baby. It's warm. The sounds of the swamp was talking all night here. It's dead quiet in the middle of winter, and it's cold. Okay? That's not as ideal when it comes to survival. You'll see a video coming in the future about survival and bushcraft and the differences they entail, because I believe bushcraft is important because it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be a skill set and an art. This is something that you have to do when it has to be done. It's not something you want to do, and it shouldn't be something you want to do. You should learn the skills it takes, but that's about as far as it goes. It's not something you want to go do. And I'm doing it because this is what I want to pursue in life as a teacher, and hopefully I can show people the best methods for their situation in case they ever get in that situation, so they know what to do and how to do it and what's the best method for it. I just want to show you real quick of what wood I had left. Okay, I grabbed a few bigger logs like this, and I showed you in the night what I was doing with those, just letting them burn and pulling them up. Okay, this is the only piece that I had left from that stack I had right here. Okay, so all that got burnt. And if I didn't have these sitting right here, I just had them sitting on the outside of my shelter here, then I would have froze, because I would have ran out of firewood and I would have had to go out here where it was freezing cold. The moment I step out here to even shoot those videos last night, you immediately could feel the cold. So I don't want to have to go look for firewood in the middle of the night. So remember that. Get a couple bigger logs if they're around. Lay them next to your shelter, more than one. Grab a couple of them like I did, because I burnt that one up that I was showing you in the video last night. But I had these two sitting outside here as spares. Alright? And you can see this is all I had left of that little stuff. Alright? And it's not even that little. I didn't grab little stuff because I know how quick it burns. This stuff lasts a little longer. So remember that tip as well. These will come in handy. They'll save you when you start to run out of firewood. I know I gave you a look at this at night. I just wanted to give you the morning look at it to make sure you understood what I was doing. You can see where I put this mud situation here up. See that hole back there? I dug that out, and that's where my feet were. Okay, that made it a little more comfortable. And all that mud got put to use. I packed it all up in here just to keep those coals from falling out on me in the middle of the night or setting my shelter on fire. And all that mud you see right there, all this right here, it was all packed in by me to keep, because this, I noticed that this log here was pine because that's all sap right there. That right there is sap. Okay, so that means that this is super flammable. I don't want that log starting on fire in the middle of the night. That's not going to be a happy ending. So I packed all that mud right there, which actually worked perfectly. You see how it's all charred? That's where the flame was hitting instead of on that log. So that worked out well. This backstop that I made here, you know, I originally had just the mud backstop from the root. Well, now I had this where I put these posts in. You know, I put 4 of them in and then just stacked my logs in here. Noticed that they were catching fire on me because I had it so close, which is, you know, understandable. And they were even wet logs. I grabbed a bunch of wet ones, but eventually they dry out. So I packed mud all along this, which actually made it better because it reflected more heat into my shelter. So that was what I was explaining last night. It was just how I was improving my situation as much as I possibly could. You can see I dug all that mud right there out and utilized it all along here, which this, making this backstop here, just enclosed this big hole I have here even more. And if I were to be in a long-term situation here, this shelter would be improved a lot more than what it is. I'd be closing all this off and putting more of an overhang here, leaving this little spot open for my chimney, because that worked perfect. You can see how that smoke is just going right up and out of here. You know, it wasn't going in my shelter at all last night, which was perfect. So that's what we want here. We're just looking for those minor things to keep us safe in the middle of the night from smoke inhalation, because that's carbon monoxide, which can kill you. If you trap yourself in here with a bunch of smoke, you're just asking for carbon monoxide poisoning. So you have to think about that. You have to think about burning your shelter down and maximizing heat going in your shelter. So I just wanted to point that out real quick before I close off here, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be getting back with you guys with some more on shelter making and staying in them to show you exactly what they can do and what ones work better for certain situations. I give this one a medium for winter survival. Definitely not the most ideal. Okay, you want something a little bit more enclosed. Like when I say that, I mean smaller. Scrunch this down to that big instead of this big. That'll trap more heat for you and keep your body heat in there as well. But for the most part, it kept me alive. I didn't freeze last night like everything else did. So stay tuned for more on this.